Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I was gifted for my birthday. By the time that you're watching this, my birthday has been and gone. It's almost been a month since my birthday actually, because my birthday is on the 3rd of July. I turned 24 this year and I was so lucky. I received some amazing gifts, and as per usual I did want to film a birthday book haul just so that you guys can see which books I received and which books I am now adding to my collection. There is definitely a theme for this book haul, which is completely unintended, but everyone did seem to get me the same sort of books. But don't worry, I do have a few different ones in there as well, and I really hope that you will get some recommendations from this stack. I will of course have this video timestamped. I'm going to start off with the books that were gifted to me by my bookish friends, then I'm going to move on to books I got from family members, and lastly I'm going to show you the books that I got from Tom, who is my boyfriend. I'm so excited to be showing you guys all of these amazing books, and so without further ado, let's just dive into the haul. The first book I have here is Let's Play Murder by Kessia Lupo, and this one was very kindly sent to me by Rebecca over at Rebecca Books. This is a very recent addition to my wish list, but I'm so happy that Rebecca has decided to send this one my way. It is essentially a murder mystery book, but it's set in a virtual reality world, and honestly I did not need to know much more than that. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline is one of my favourite ever films. I still haven't read the book, which I'm definitely embarrassed about. I have it on my shelves. I've been meaning to read it so many times, but I'm honestly scared that it won't live up to my expectations now that I've seen and loved the film so much. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. This book essentially gave me those sort of vibes, and what's even more appealing to me is that it is of course a murder mystery, which if you guys don't know is one of my favourite genres. So in this one we follow our main character Veronica, who one day gets sucked into a virtual reality game. Now she does not like VR at all. She is not bothered by this game. However, the only way that she can leave is to solve a murder mystery. Now this should be relatively straightforward, however things are of course not as they seem. There are blackouts, glitches, and 4 other strange characters that Veronica can't trust. And when a player does actually die, Veronica has to ask herself whether this is part of the game or whether this is in fact real life. And it just says at the bottom here, this may not be a game Veronica wanted to play, but it's one she has to win or die trying. That just sounds amazing. I cannot wait to get to it. I am hoping to get to it next month actually, which I'm probably going to say that about all of these books because I'm genuinely that excited for each and every single one, but this is a top priority for me. I cannot wait to get to it, and I haven't seen any reviews for this one either, so I will be interested to see what goes on and whether I do enjoy it as much as I'm hoping I will. Next up I have The Last Housewife by Ashley Winston, and this was very kindly sent to me by Chloe over at Chloe Reads Books. This is another one that I am desperate to get to, you guys. Essentially all I know about this one is that it's also a murder mystery book, but it does have a podcast element, which if you guys don't know, I do really enjoy my podcasts. I tend to only really listen to true crime podcasts, and of course with this being a mystery involving a podcast, I was instantly sold. Now I have just seen here that there is a content warning on the front page. It says content warning for suicide, rape, physical violence, sexual violence, trauma, self-harm, misogyny, gender essentialism, and drug use. So if any of that is triggering for you, maybe stay away from this book for now. I really love that the author has included that at the front of this book actually, just because it does let you know what you're in for. Of course, with it being a murder mystery book, I do expect a lot of that content going in, but it is nice to just have it there so that if you're not comfortable with the subject matter, then you can leave it and come back to it another time. Now the synopsis for this is very long, but essentially we have our main character Shay, and when she was younger, she and her best friend met a captivating man who seduced them with a web of lies about the way the world works, bringing them under his thrall. By senior year, Shay and her friend Laurel were the only ones who managed to escape. Now 8 years later, Shay's built a new life in a Texas suburb, but when she hears the horrifying news of Laurel's death, delivered of all ways by her favourite true crime podcast Crusader, she begins to suspect that the past she thought she buried is still very much alive and the predators more dangerous than ever. And from here on, she recruits the help of this podcaster who covered Laurel's story, and Shay does get thrown back into this dark, seductive world. As I mentioned, I cannot wait to read this one. I feel like this will be a new favourite of mine. I have heard a few more reviews for this one than I have on the previous book, and from what I've seen, people are really enjoying it. They are saying that it's a very well done book and you do just get sucked into the story. Not gonna lie, I feel like I do want to save this one to read towards the latter half of the year, just because it is giving me that kind of dark and spooky smoky vibe, and so I feel like reading it in the colder months would be perfect. But a massive thank you, Chloe, for sending this one my way. I cannot wait to get to it, and I hope you also enjoy it if you do pick it up yourself. Next up, we have this beautiful edition of the Tuesday Murder Club by Agatha Christie, which in the UK is known as Miss Marple's 13 Problems. Now, I have actually read this one. I have read all of the Miss Marple books and I absolutely love them. They are such good, complex murder mysteries that just have you on the edge of your seat. And Miss Marple as a main character is just brilliant because, for those of you who don't know, she is an elderly woman, but she is one of the best detectives out there. Now, she's not officially a detective, but she does get involved in a lot of different cases. Murders just seem to take place around her, and she does take it upon herself to figure out what is going on and to inform the police of who the murderer is. This one in particular is a collection of short stories, which I wouldn't normally gravitate towards. However, as I mentioned, I have read this one and I did really enjoy it, so I did put this beautiful edition on my wish list. I believe it's a relatively new edition as well, but I am slowly collecting the hardcover editions of Agatha Christie's books because how could I not? Just look at this edition, you guys. I do already own a handful and this is the newest one. So once again, thank you so much, Victoria, for sending this one my way. I can't wait to put it with the rest of these editions. I feel like it's just going to look amazing on my shelves, and you're also not adding a book to my physical TBR, which is amazing. So thank you very much for choosing this one and sending it my way. And then in the same vein, we have MARPLE by a bunch of different authors, and this book was sent to me by Emily over at Emily Kathleen Reads, who is a fellow Agatha Christie lover. So thank you so much, Emily, for sending this one my way. It was a big surprise because I had actually looked at the paperback of this, I think the day before that I opened this one, and for some reason I didn't buy it. I told myself to leave it there for a while, and this is probably why. I feel like that was the universe guiding me in some way or another, because yeah, this is just gorgeous. I love the spine as well. This is a relatively new release. It did come out about a year ago now. It was in the latter half of 2022. I did have it pre-ordered, but I did have to cancel it just because of my financial situation at the time, and I have been wanting to get to it ever since, and I'm really glad that I am finally able to. So for this one, it says, here for the first time, 12 internationally best-selling writers, all of them dedicated Agatha Christie fans and MARPLE aficionados, have breathed new life into Christie's much-loved detective. MARPLE introduces a whole new generation of readers to one of the greatest deductive minds ever to capture the world's imagination, a modest, unassuming old lady. 12 stories, 12 great writers, one new collection. And then the writers that have been involved in this are Naomi Alderman, Lee Bardugo, Alyssa Cole, Lucy Foley, Ellie Griffiths, Natalie Haynes, Jean Kwok, Val McDermid, Karen M. McManus, Kate Moss, Dredda Say Mitchell, and Ruth Ware. Now, I haven't read all of these authors' works, but I have read from a fair few, and I'm just so excited to see how they tackle a murder mystery featuring Miss Marple, because she is such a well-known character now that I feel like it's going to be very hard to do her justice. So this is one that I will hopefully again pick up very soon, at least before the end of the year. I would have loved to have read this one by then. Thank you so much, Emily, for making that possible. I am genuinely blown away, and this will take pride of place on my murder mystery shelf. Once again, a massive thank you to all of my bookish friends for sending those books my way. You really didn't have to, but it truly did mean the world to me. I do actually have a birthday vlog where I unbox these parcels, so if you would like to see that and see my reaction whilst opening them, you can click the link up above and down below, and through that you can see how I spent my birthday and a few more of the presents that I received as well. But moving on to the books I got from family members, I am going to start off with the books that I got from my mum and my stepdad, which I'm actually surprised that they bought me books because, as you guys can tell, I tend to buy a lot, and it's a risky game buying me presents that aren't off of my wish list, but they managed it. They got me 2 books that I don't own, and they are 2 books that I am definitely looking forward to reading. The first one is The Club by Ellery Lloyd, and this is a book that was featured in Reese Witherspoon's book club. As soon as I opened this one, I knew it was going to be a book that I would love because the tagline is "Everyone's dying to join." For this one, it just says, "There's no place like home. The Home Group is a collection of ultra-exclusive private members clubs and a global phenomenon. The opening of its most ambitious project yet, Island Home, a forgotten island transformed into the height of luxury, is billed as the celebrity event of the decade. But as the first guests arrive, the weekend soon proves deadly, as it turns out that even the most beautiful people can keep the ugliest secrets, and in a world where reputation is everything, they'll do anything to keep them. If your name's on the list, list you are not getting out. Doesn't that just sound amazing, you guys? I, again, am so excited to get to this one. I genuinely don't know when I'm going to fit all of these books onto my TBR because I am so busy these next few months, but I'm just desperate to get to each and every single one because they all sound amazing. Hopefully with the murder mystery thriller books, I can read them relatively quickly because they should be fast-paced, and if I get a good mystery book, I am sucked in from the get-go and I just need to finish it. So I do tend to sit down and devour them, which should hopefully be the case for this one. Now, I haven't actually heard anything about this one, but my mum did pick up a copy for herself as well because she said it just sounded amazing. So who knows, I might do a buddy read with her and then we can discuss it, or I might even take this one on holiday with me because I always need a thriller to take away with me. Again, just because it's fast-paced and I can really lose myself in the story, so this might be another one that I do manage to get to soon. If not though, I will save it for a rainy day when I need a fast-paced book with a very intriguing plot line. And then the other book that they got me is a bit of a different one for me, I'm not gonna lie, but it is Girl in Pieces by Kathleen Glasgow. Now the synopsis of this reads, Charlotte Davis is in pieces. At 17, she's already lost more than most people do in a lifetime, but she's learned how to forget. The broken glass washes away the sorrow until there's nothing but calm. You don't have to think about your father and the river, your best friend who is gone forever, or your mother who has nothing left to give you. A deeply moving portrait of a girl in a world that owes her nothing, yet has taken so much, and her long journey back from the edge. Now just from that synopsis alone, you guys will probably be able to tell that this isn't necessarily a book that I would have picked up myself. However, the more I think about this one, I do want to give it a go because I have experienced a lot of trauma in my childhood, to put it lightly, which I will of course not go into on the internet. It's something very personal, but it is something that I've had to live with growing up. And then recently I have also lost my auntie, who was a massive part of my life, and I've really been struggling with my grief ever since. And so I feel like reading a book like this will give me some sort of outlet to my emotions and will hopefully resonate with me and give me something that I need, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm not really explaining it that well, but I tend to stay away from the sadder books that deal with this sort of subject matter because I do hide away from my emotions. So I'm hoping that I will resonate with this book in some way. I will of course give it a go, and if I don't feel like reading it, I will put it down. But the thought of my mum reading the synopsis and picking this book out as one that she wanted to gift me is just something that is really lovely, and because of that I would like to give it a go. I would like to see what is discussed in this book and of course talk about it and let you guys know. So even though this isn't one that I would have picked up for myself, I am glad that my mum and my stepdad have bought it for me, and when I'm feeling low I can turn to this one and hopefully feel connected to it in one way or another. The next set of books are actually from my sister, so thank you so much Siwan for these. And guys, this is honestly one of the most beautiful collections I've ever seen. It is the Sherlock Holmes miniature library collection, which looks like this. Now isn't this just beautiful? I'm going to try and give you a little bit of a close-up, but as you can see we have a bunch of different images on the spines there that all correspond to a Sherlock Holmes novel, and the books that are included are A Study in Scarlet, The Sign of the Four, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes, The Hound of the Baskervilles, The Return of Sherlock Holmes, The Valley of Fear, and His Last Bow. Now I love these, mainly because of the spines of course, but actually these are tiny little editions and you would be able to read from these. So here is just an example. Of course we have the image on the spine, and then this is what one of the books looks like. And look at this, you guys, the text isn't all that small, so I definitely feel like I could read these if I wanted to. As I mentioned earlier, I love my murder mysteries, and Sherlock Holmes is one of the most famous, if not the most famous detective. So to have this beautiful box set is just mind-blowing to me. I am so grateful. I believe that Siwan said she found this in a garden centre, but I believe if you just type in the Sherlock Holmes miniature library collection you should find them online somewhere. But thank you so much Siwan, I absolutely love them. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put them because I don't have too much room on my shelves, but I'm going to keep them in the box for now until I find a space for them where I can display them proudly, because yeah, they're just the most beautiful things ever. And then the last few books I have to show you guys today are all from Tom, and I say few, however there are quite a lot of books here. Tom has well and truly spoilt me, and yeah, I just cannot believe that he bought me the books that he did, starting with Jurassic Park and The Lost World, both by Michael Crichton. So this is the first and second book book in the Jurassic Park world. And for those of you who don't know, Jurassic Park is one of my all-time favourite films. The first and second one are definitely up there. The third and fourth we can kind of forget about, but I don't mind watching them if they're on. And I have been interested in reading the books for a while now. They are available on Scribd, however I did plan on listening to the audiobook and reading along physically, just because a lot of people that I follow have done it that way and have really recommended it because they said that they just had the best experience doing so. And so Tom asked me to give him a kind of wish list just of some things that I wanted in case he was stuck and wasn't sure what to get me. And I believe that this was from a secondhand bookstore as well, which is fantastic. They are in perfect condition though, and I actually haven't opened the plastic, so I might do that now. There we go, you can see them a lot better now. But yeah, this is the first book, this is the second. I would have thought that the covers would be the other way around, just because we've come to associate this logo with Jurassic Park. However, with them being secondhand, I feel like they were just put together randomly, which again is fine. But in case you don't know, in Jurassic Park, some scientists have actually found DNA from the dinosaurs and they are trying to recreate them in their labs. This is of course successful. They do create an attraction with them, but as you can imagine, this doesn't end well, and so we're following a group of characters who are trying to fight for their survival and get out of Jurassic Park. I'm so excited to get to these. I may even film a dedicated reading vlog of my experience reading them if that is something you would be interested in. I just feel like it would be a lot of fun and I could watch the films afterwards as well, because Tom has never seen the films, you guys. I am genuinely in shock about that, because who hasn't watched Jurassic Park? It's a classic. It is one of my favourite films ever. And so I will definitely be reading these, watching the films, and forcing Tom to watch them for the first time as well, which will be an experience in itself. So prepare yourself, Tom, for that, and a massive thank you for these books. And the last set of books that he bought me are all part of the same series, which, as I mentioned, I just can't believe that he bought me these, because we have all of the Throne of Glass books in the newly released covers. I am going to pop these down because they are heavy, but we have the Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. As I mentioned, I'm just completely blown away by this stack. I did open, I think it was the last two books first, and I didn't have the heart to tell him that these were the last two books. But then I, of course, opened up another box and found all of the rest of the series, which I just can't believe he did that. Which I said to him, and he was like, well, I'm not just going to get you one or two of the series. I'm going to get you all of them so that you can have this beautiful matching set. And he knows me so well because I was just blown away. I have such a big smile on my face when I look at these because it's just such a thoughtful gift. I actually finished out this series last year. I had been putting it off for years. I'd reread the series about 2 or 3 times without finishing it, and I finally plucked up the courage and picked up Kingdom of Ash, and it was genuinely one of the best experiences of my life. I loved this series so much, and so to have this stunning set, it just truly does mean the world to me. And yeah, I can't believe Tom bought me them. Now, I'm sure that most of you know what Throne of Glass is about, but in case you don't, we follow our main character Selena Sardothian, and at the start of the first book she is in the slave mines of Endovia because she has been training as an assassin all of her life, but one day one of her assassination attempts goes wrong and she does end up in the slave mines. One day though, she does get an unexpected visit from the prince of this kingdom, who asks her to be his champion in his father's next competition. If she defeats 23 murderers, thieves and warriors in this competition, then she will have to serve the king for a number of years, but then will ultimately gain her freedom. That in itself sounds pretty terrifying, but there is actually a darkness lurking in the castle, and when some of her competitors start dying, the stakes are upped and Selena's fight for freedom becomes even more difficult. That's all I'm going to say about that one. I feel like it doesn't really give too much away. This is such an intricate, detailed world filled with magic, assassins as I mentioned. We have mythological creatures, witches, warlocks. It is genuinely one of the best YA series out there, and if you haven't picked it up yet, I would highly recommend that you do so because it's such a good time. It's so easy to fly through these books, and I bet you that you will get attached to all of the different characters. So a massive thank you you once again to Tom for all of my amazing presents, but these books in particular. As I said previously with the Sherlock Holmes books, I don't really have much space on my shelves to display these books, but I will find a space for them, I promise. They are too beautiful to not be put on display, so rest assured you will see these somewhere on my shelves pretty soon. But these are all of the amazing books that I got from my birthday. I can't even fit them all in frame, and I am genuinely shaking right now trying to hold all of these up. It is such an amazing stack of books, and I'm so grateful for each and every single one of these presents. I will of course have links to all of my bookish friends' YouTube channels down below, so please go and show them some love if you're not subscribed to them already, because their channels are amazing and they are absolutely lovely. But we have finally made it to the end of the video, guys. Thank you so much, as I mentioned, to everyone who sent me gifts. These all made my day. You guys made me feel so special, and thank you to you guys as well for all the birthday messages. This community truly is one of the best things in my life, and having you reach out to me wishing me a happy birthday just made my day even more special. If you didn't reach out to me, a massive thank you in general just for watching these videos. That in itself blows me away, and it really does mean a lot. But I'm gonna end this video now, otherwise I will just keep rambling on. If you have made it this far through and would like to let me know that you're still here, please go ahead and leave me some birthday related emojis down below. This is the last video where I can milk my birthday, guys, so if you have made it this far through into the video but don't have anything in particular that you would like to say, please go ahead and comment that now. As well as that, please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video and the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. But that is it for me today, guys. A massive thank you once again to every single person watching, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!